Did too much this weekend. Got my son's house painted. So I got that all.
Might be the last weekend you have this.
My son did the high part, my son-in-law did the middle part, right?
There you go. That's the way to do it.
But it's a big house.
Good evening, everybody. It's 6:00 p.m. We will call this meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Kirkland,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda, please.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion about the agenda? If not, call the roll, please.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda tonight, we have the following items. Minutes of the October 18, 2021 regular city council meeting. Payments for contract services, we have none tonight. Claims, registers, and financials for a grand total of $959,565.86. License and permits, we also have none tonight. Kind of a short consent agenda tonight. Need a motion to approve those items, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion about the consent agenda items that we just went over? If not, call the roll, please.
McCauley,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving right along to city administrator's report.
All right, one thing I have, and I'll just share it here, with the state approving the state districting plan. Liz has been working on redistricting for the city. And we have to send our proposal to the county to get the approval from the county, and then it comes back to city council. I think, Liz, at the next meeting, we're gonna start that process, correct?
Yeah, we'll set the public hearing and then we'll have a public hearing in December and then an ordinance reading in December.
Okay. And then the only change that's proposed is a change that was a change of an actual census block. And I think they added some of the brownfield that was annexed into city limits since the last census. So you can see that area, I think was in second, some of that area was in second ward and now it's in third. Is that correct, Liz?
Yeah, so the census block is outlined in red. And then if you can kind of see the bright neon green line, that's roughly the old census block line.
Right where that triangle is.
Yep, that triangle piece. So anything underneath of that was in Ward 2. But in order to do wards, they have to be specific and set by census block. So now that whole census block is going to go into Ward 3 with that sharper V at the bottom of it. I looked on a map. It looks like maybe roughly 5 houses are going to be affected. Roughly, give or take, there might be more. A lot of the ground, because that angle that goes down is actually the bike trail. So a lot of the ground around the bike trail is actually owned by the city or the county with the trail. So it's just really that bottom corner that, and it V's down to Warford. So just if you come up just a little bit, there's a couple houses in there next to, would be that Pantier.
The west second.
Yeah, the west second. So it'd be the houses to the north of that Pantier property that was bought. And I think there's roughly, like I said, maybe 4 to 5 houses in that area.
So Ward 1 is in the green?
No, Ward 2 is in the green. That's not showing Ward 1. Ward 1, the only change to it would be the annexation portions that happened over the past 10 years. So all the other, like I said, all the other lines are roughly the same, except that's going to be the one variance.
So that will
That
go.
road that comes up is McKinley, isn't it? And it goes over to 16.
Yes,
McKinley.
that's McKinley.
Oh, I didn't.
And
know
if you actually zoom in on it, the map has the wrong name, so I've already asked for them to change. I've already asked for them to change that, but I don't know how quickly that happens.
I didn't realize that was part of it.
I could be off because the other map was just, I don't know, what would you call them, Susie? Or just kind of a printout.
Yeah.
And then the ordinance was like starting point here and then thence turning easterly here, so. Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit weird. And we'll get a copy of that.
yep, that's all part of the drafted ordinance that we're still.
I want to thank Liz. She's spent a lot of time on this. She's gone to some training related to this and spent a lot of time on it. Thank you, Liz.
Yes, I thank Susie, because Susie always is very helpful to me.
And Susie.
Thankful.
What else, Van?
Projects kind of slowed down last week with the rain, but I think things are gearing back up this week out of the wastewater treatment plant and then also with the solar project. So I noticed they started putting up some steel in the city hall parking lot. So that's starting to take shape and working on some of the directional boring for the power lines. So does anybody have any questions for me?
The wreck's got a bunch of steel on too.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Rick
It's
Center
really
steel
come a long way.
is all but like 6 maybe are up, so.
It really comes along.
Looks different out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It'll be shadier.
Yeah, there you go. We don't want it too shady. So
Different kind of shade.
Yeah.
anything else for Sven?
Not as
Or
colorful.
Sven, anything else from you?
Yet.
Nothing else for Sven. We'll move on to mayor council comments. I don't really have a lot tonight, but I did certainly want to indicate, I heard a lot of nice comments about Spooktacular downtown, that people were real happy with that. We had a great turnout, so that's always a fun event. And it was cool, I guess, but at least it wasn't raining like it was the day before, so the weather cooperated somewhat too. Council, what do you have tonight?
Same thing. I heard lots of good things about a lot of people downtown during that time, which is great for the business.
I heard, I had some considerable chatter on my Facebook page from residents wishing that we would have another night, the night before or the night after, so the kids could get out and trick or treat in the neighborhood and be a little, have a little more happy. I had several comments.
What else, council? Anything else?
Don't forget to vote tomorrow.
Polls open when 7 o'clock.
Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's always important to remember, local elections, both city and school, are some of the most important elections we have because they affect all of our lives directly.
And that'll be at the McCurry Center.
Yeah, except for those folks that vote in Dawson, everybody else votes at the McCurry Center tomorrow for location. Anything else from council? Hearing none, we'll move on to open forum. As always, speakers will be asked to step to the microphone and state their name and address for the record. And individuals speaking will be given the usual 3 minutes to address council. Again, if you have anything that you want to share related to any of the agenda items tonight, or anything else you want to bring up to council, now's your opportunity. Open forum, either in person or Zoom. Lizzie, do you have any update for us?
Was that for me? Sorry.
Yeah, I said, do you have any
Really just echoing some of the comments that I heard from council. A really great turnout from the for the Spooktacular. We had 48 businesses and organizations set up downtown within those 4 blocks. Really, really great turnout from the community. So I'm hearing numbers come in from different individuals that bought candy and were handing them out, but well over 1,000 kids. And then if you figure, by average, some kids all being by themselves, some kids with 1 or 2 adults in tow, another 1,000 adults walking around as well. So easily 2,000 people downtown between 4 and 6 p.m. I've heard other chatter online as well, before and after, leading up to the event and afterwards. I think it goes both ways as far as people wanting different nights so that people can do more things. There's always people that complain about which nights it's on and things like that, but those are just things that we think about ahead of time, what makes most sense for the participants. But I think so many people go downtown that that's one of the causes for not exploring, but then also when there's not the density in the residential area, people avoid that as well. So it's just a chicken or the egg sort of thing when it comes to all of that and why people participate and not participate. But big thank you to everyone that made that such a success. I haven't asked Mary how many books she gave out at the library, but sure seemed like a lot.
Okay, that's something we can consider some of these items for next year if we want to. I believe we have a Winter's Farmers Market coming up this month, now that we're into November. Again, what date is it, Winter's Farmers Market?
Yes, so the Winter Farmers Markets at the library are the third Saturday of the month. So November 20th is the date. And it's been a great partnership with Mary there at the library. And we had a very successful one last month. So the date is really nice right before Thanksgiving. And then we'll have another one December 18th. That's the third Saturday.
Mary, do you have something to add?
This is Mary. I just wanted to chime in that we gave away 636 books.
Great.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a really great time. We were busy the whole time.
Thank you. Anything else for open forum? If not, we'll move on to next item, which is nuisance abatement hearing. As approved by council on October 18, 2021, a hearing will now take place at the request of Mr. Raylan Nelson on the notice to abate nuisance he received for his property located at 329 St. Paul Street. This hearing is being held in accordance with the city ordinance 50.13. Now is an opportunity for Mr. Nelson and city staff and council to talk about this issue.
Good evening, council. Thank you for your time. My name is Rowland Nelson, and I do live at 329 St. Paul Street. I've lived there since 2007. I've lived and worked in Barrie since 2001. I received a notice on October 2nd stating that I had more than the allowed 6 dogs per whatever, and that I didn't have my dogs fenced in. I'm just here to say that I don't have more than 6 dogs. I have all 6 dogs registered. I have the proof here if anybody wants to see that. The complaint said that a year ago, somebody said I had more than 6 dogs last year. So my wife contacted the city. I assume that was a compliance officer. He said, and also I did not have my dogs registered, so I was guilty of that. The compliance officer said, just register your dogs and that'll be it. So I just thought that was a misunderstanding about the 9 dogs. So I don't know what else to say except for I don't have 9 dogs. The complaint said I only have 4 registered, but I have all 6 of my dogs registered.
So you're saying you currently have 6 dogs, is that correct?
Correct. I have here's a copy of all their tag numbers. Let's see it.
Any questions from Mr. Nelson?
It also said that some of them were running loose. Is that correct?
I don't think so. No, I did not see any of my dogs running loose. My 5-pound Chihuahua might slip by me and run after a squirrel or something, but other than that, I don't have my dogs in.
Have a fence completely around.
I have a fenced-in area, the side of my house, where the dogs can run around. My little dogs do go out the front, but I have tie-outs for them.
What?
Tie-outs, leashes.
And we have Mr. Mark Colton here tonight. Do you want to have something? Do you want to address this topic, Mark?
Mhm.
Mark Coles, 2107 Iowa Street. I'm the city compliance officer. Like Mr. Nelson said, December of 20, I received a complaint. Of course, I really don't move on anything unless I get a complaint from the neighborhood or from somebody out there that sees it. And that's what prompted me on this second call was a complaint. And I looked, let's see, I received it on September 30th. And then I looked for about 3 days. I drove around the area, looked. I see their containment and everything, just like I did on the in December of 20. And I didn't see anything. But then I received another complaint. So that's what prompted me to send a letter to Mr. Nelson. And the letters that I send out, that I hope that the residents understand, it's a warning. You know, they're informational, they're educational, they tell you about pieces of the ordinance. This one was chapter 55. And what I hope is that it breeds a little bit of wanting to know a little more. Maybe somebody call me and talk to me a little bit about it and what I'm understanding, but it's hard to understand. And yes, in the letter, it also talks about the punitive part of it. You know, if they don't abate certain things, what could come about? So, and I did, it was my fault. And I looked and I saw on our registry, I saw the 4 lines. Okay, and it was in a row. And I sent the letter out thinking that you only had 4 registered. But when I went further down, I saw that there was 2 more. That was after the letter went out. So you do have the 6, and your wife was telling me back in December that that's what was going to happen. But each time the complaint's been about more. Okay. So that's what I acted on. And so basically what you're seeing is, and the letter says it, if I find it to be different, then possibly the punitive part of it would come out. Okay, but nothing's been found. But I have been around the neighborhood and appreciate that. Appreciate that. So basically, that's the story of it.
Okay. Because this is as we indicated, this is a warning educational letter. There's really no action for us to take.
No, there's no action for you to take because I haven't found anything.
Correct.
It's strictly a warning on that if we do, or if I get another complaint, whatnot. I have knocked on the door before, but I never get an answer. Front door. Yeah. Yeah.
When was that?
Well, last December, I knocked on it. And I think the police chief can vouch for that because I locked the keys in the truck. I was standing out there shivering. So. I did about the second day of my rounds over there, and I can't think of what day that is, but I do knock on the door. I hear some dogs, but okay, all
Any other discussion on this abatement issue?
I drove by there a couple times too and saw no worries. So
So what?
I had no worries. I didn't see any dogs out
Okay.
running around or any problems. So
Okay.
I don't, when they say, you know. Well, I suppose what I'm gonna do is press. And for more proof.
Okay. Nothing else. This concludes this hearing. Again, we have no action to take because we haven't taken any punitive action. I do want to thank you, Mr. Nelson, for coming tonight and meeting with us. And I want to thank Mark Colton coming tonight too. Anything else on this before we move on? If not, thank you. Moving on to old business, discussion and direction for fireworks regulations. Council, over the past several months, has held a work session, received community input, as well as input from local vendors, and discussed in length fireworks and the regulations around selling and the discharge of fireworks. From these communications, staff have put together different options that have been reviewed to draft a new ordinance and is providing a breakdown of ordinances since 2017. Council direction is needed in order to move on. The information that's referenced about ordinances since 2017 was part of our package tonight. I think Sven, you're going to kind of introduce this topic.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to spend a little bit of time going over the past rules. And I actually, for some reason, had it in my head that they were a lot different than what they were. But really, we've been pretty consistent, other than in 2017. We had the hours of only on July 4th from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Other than that, it's been 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. on the 4th. So I thought that was interesting that we've never had it more than just the 4th. But, I think we've kind of gone over the options, and I think there's been a little bit of, kind of back and forth, some consideration of, do we ban fireworks outright, or are we going to try more days to see if we can spread the explosions out a little bit so it's not quite so intense on that one day. So just wanted to have that conversation. Also, is this something that we want to, since we've had conversation, do we want to send it back to the committee that was kind of working on it before with the police chief and have some more discussions there to really come back with a direction? Or, I guess staff kind of needs direction on, are we wanting to allow more days and different hours, or keep what we have, or work on an ordinance banning fireworks completely? So I think we've kind of gone the full spectrum on discussion. So
a number of times, I think.
kind of wanting to narrow it down a little bit again. But again, I didn't know if we wanted to send it back for other discussion, or Eric has thoughts. Looks like Eric has thoughts.
I'll just give you my input, I guess. My suggestion, we either keep it the way we have it, or if the council decides to ban it, I'm not for extending the duration of it. I think that'll just garner more complaints. So.
And the mayor and I's meeting today, we did look up what the metro communities did. I would say roughly half of the metro communities as of 2021 just banned them outright. Ankeny was the only one that had one day on the 4th of July. Other than that, most of them had the 3rd and 4th, or a few days before and a few days after,
right,
including the 4th. So
there was quite a few that had, probably half a dozen or so that had like 2 or 3 days or 2, 3, 4 days.
And some of those were the outlying communities like Carlisle, Indianola, Norwalk, up to Grimes, Pope City. So Bondurant, I think, allowed them some days.
If you can get anything out of that, it was probably that it was either like ban them completely or have more than 1 day. It was kind of the majority, with the exception of Anki, that's pretty much the way it was.
Yeah.
Eric, what's your success rate at keeping it to the rules?
But I guess.
Okay, so
Currently-
let's just hypothesize. We can have fireworks from 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock. And they start shooting them off 2 days ahead of time. And the day before, they're gonna shoot more of them off. There's no way you can control that, is there?
Well, we need compliance from the city, from the citizens. That's
But
right.
what's your
That's right.
success rate?
I wouldn't even know. I don't even know what that is.
I mean, if
We-
there's
but here's the-
150 people shooting fireworks, what do you talk to?
Well, that's the thing. We had roughly 60 complaints, but that's the complaints that we get. We know it's more than that. There are people that are violating. So
Don't
those are
take
the
me
number of the
wrong, I'm not
complaints we
saying
get.
You're doing a poor
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
I'm saying you've got an impossible job to try to do.
Well, no, I think it's compliance. We need compliance from the citizens and what they want. And from
They want
what we've heard,
They want fireworks.
well,
Not all citizens want fireworks.
You're right.
Yeah.
Half of them don't want any.
yeah, I think it's a
I'd
a
say it's
split
a half.
group. It's a split group. And it's just like with other things. If they want to continue, then they need to be respectful of what the rules are and follow those rules.
Yeah.
And keep them at the time that you allocate. It's gonna be tough to enforce. There's no doubt. No matter what you do, it's gonna be hard to enforce because people will not follow the rules.
I would say almost impossible.
But we're gonna have to do it either way,
Yeah.
whatever you do.
I don't disagree with you,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to back you in the corner.
No, I'm just saying,
You're saying
yeah,
exactly
it's gonna be
bottom
difficult.
line, what I'm thinking is no matter what we do, it's not gonna change.
It's gonna be difficult. Yeah, we can change a few people's minds with citations and enforcing the regulations. And I think that's with any change in a law, then with strict enforcement over a period of time, I think that will help change people's behavior. That's my hope.
You know, and I think we can sell that. I think part of our opportunity is to sell that as we talk and as we publish and as we print, sell that to the community, that there's a positive to these rules. And if everybody will just take a few steps back and treat it with a little more civility, it will improve everybody's life. And yet, I suspect what we're going to pass is going to allow a good portion of the people to have a good portion of legal fun. That's fine.
Chief, and again, this is not criticism over the enforcement of our ordinance, but are there some other things that we can try for enforcement to try to be more responsive? In other words, unmarked cars, bicycles, those types of things.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. I think one of the other things too is, we do a lot, Susie and Liz have done a lot to try to publicize this. We went to the effort of putting up some signs, which I think help reduce some of that problem on that, in the business districts. So I think we need to continue with that, step up that game a little bit also, but also step up the enforcement. I think it's going to be multiple things that we're going to have to do to change behavior, I guess, and get people to comply with the ordinance, whatever that may be. But I agree. I think foot patrol and bicycles, we're gonna have to be it.
Yeah.
And if that's what we're gonna have to do to help enforce it, whatever the change may be.
Yeah, whatever we do you have any idea why? I mean, it's basically, as Sven said, it's been the same ordinance with a few minor changes since 2017. And so why all of a sudden is it much worse
Well,
now?
I think it's been bad every year. The last 2 years have just gotten, with after the several years, I think it's gotten just worse, especially the last 2 years, I think, without the lack of compliance. And I think before that, before the city or the state allowed fireworks sold in the state, we had smaller fireworks, and people were bringing back smaller fireworks than I think than they have access to now. So I think that's where a lot of our complaints come from, are these large batteries of fireworks that go off at random times, and that's what really upsets people. I think everybody, I know there's definitely going to be people that don't enjoy them on the 4th of July even, but I think most of the people have accepted that and are okay with that. It's the if the council's talked about it, it's the person that runs out in the random 10 o'clock at night, shoots off 2 or 3 and runs back in the house with these large batteries of fireworks. We can't regulate it. Yeah, without warning or whatever. Yeah, but I think it's all those things. Doc. I think it's going to be the enforcement and the education on both sides to get what we want.
Wouldn't it be a lot easier to enforce if we just banned them next year? I think there'd be a lot less fireworks in Perry if we did ban them, because most people will kind of say, okay, I'm not going to do this then because it's banned in this town. They'll go to some place that it isn't. Yeah. Which is then their problem, not ours.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know.
They're banned in Des Moines. They're looking for
Yeah.
the drone footage, and there's fireworks going off there.
I was going to say,
but it's not to the extent that it is in Perry. It was
Depends on
crazy.
your neighborhood, I think.
My neighborhood was absolutely nonstop from 6 in the morning until 2 in the morning. And there was many days before and after, but during that time, it was absolutely crazy out there. If we don't ban them this year, I would like to see 4 in the afternoon until 10 at night for one day.
I know.
And no 3 or 4 days, that's crazy. So that would at least let people eat, enjoy being outside a little bit. Before they were legal, everybody had a blast and went down to the park and sat on First Street, and it was amazing. Now they all have their own, and it's just crazy. The noise factor alone, the stink even, it's just nuts now. So we've got to do something to limit that.
I know the city of Knoxville does not allow fireworks at all, but I know one of the officers down there, and it's just the same. It's just kind of a go from call to call, trying to track them down. But one thing we are working on, starting a program through the police department to have people register their security cameras and their doorbells, their Ring camera doorbells. So that could be a way to help us with some of the enforcement on that. So just maybe an opportunity, but
My sense of looking at the discussions that we've had on a number of occasions is that I think for the most part, with the proposed ordinance that we have talked about, I think we pretty much have consensus on what the ordinance would look like, except for this piece of it, of how many days and what hours we would consider. So I guess what I'm thinking maybe how to proceed is put a draft ordinance together, because again, I think we're pretty much in consensus with most of it, except for this one tiny piece. And list a few options there, and then when we bring it up again next time or at some future meeting, whenever that happens to be, that we decide so we can move forward, decide which option we want to go with, and just move forward. That's what I would propose. Agree or disagree?
okay.
My feelings on this is we've discussed it so much, we're gonna be discussing it next spring. I mean, it's the same over and over.
That's why I think we need to move forward.
But I'm still on banning them.
That would be one of the options we would decide on, I think, next, whenever we bring this up.
It's just, it's like she said, it's the last 2 years it's getting worse and worse. Yes, maybe they won't abide by it, but I think the first year you're not going to have it all decided. It's gonna take a couple years for it to be, that people really realize that they're gonna get stuck.
And I don't
There
know,
won't be so many.
I don't know what is out there or what we can come up with for education, but if we can push, between now and fireworks season, some education kinds of things, and keep pushing that too. I'm not sure what's out there, what we can come up with, but it's just a thought that it wouldn't hurt anything if we could work on that too.
Liz and I will work on that.
All right, thank you.
Maybe we should have another work session and finally sit down, work on this for a couple hours, take a vote, and, we can talk about this until the 5th of July next year, and there's not going to be anything happen until we sit down and just work it out between us and do the best we can. I don't think we need to have any more meetings. I don't think education to the public is going to make squat difference. I think if you're going to fire them, you're going to fire them. If you're not, you're not.
Well, that's what I was
I
saying.
think
We need to put something
sit
together.
down and make some rules, and hopefully they'll abide by them this next year.
I'd agree with Dean. I think a work session rather than sending it back to the committee, because then the committee has to come to the council and we just start up all over again. I think we need to sit down as a council and decide what we want to do. And there's pros and cons to whatever we do. I mean, we've heard from people that have post-traumatic stress disorder. There's lots of veterans out there. We've heard from pet owners that it's disruptive. And if we ban, that may not change any of that. I mean, we already know that some other cities have banned it and they still have the same problem, but at least it might be a message to the citizens that we're tired of just, year after year having this problem. And we're doing everything we can to resolve it. But I think we work it out as a council with Chief Vaughn and you and the mayor. Let's have a work session to do that.
And I'd like to have that work session within a few weeks before Doc is gone, because he's been with us this whole time, hashing it through. I'd like to have your knowledge on this vote.
Well, actually, I was hoping to postpone this.
I think we're all in agreement. We just need to move forward and resolve this, because I agree. We could discuss this till, if somebody said to the 5th of July next year, we just need to move forward. We will do that. Next item, approval of change order number 1 for T hanger drainage improvements. Change order number 1 reconciles project quantities, changes to create a final as constructed. The change order was reviewed and has been recommended for approval by the project engineer. The net increase for this change order is $9,060, bringing the contract price to $56,666. Need a motion, please?
I move that we approve change order 1 for the hangar draining improvement.
I'll second that.
Discussion regarding change order number 1.
It all drains perfectly now, right?
So far, they look pretty good with the rain, so. This is a small DOT funded project we got through the state of Iowa. It's been sitting here almost for 2 years waiting to get it built. So we finally got that done. We can get the grant closed out. Rick Holbrook did the work, did a great job. It's in, drains out to the ditch line out by the road coming into the airport now. So we had hangar footings and things that were settling down. Those have all been repaired. We hooked in after the derecho We had, the gutters were fixed on the buildings that are adjacent to where this drainage issue was, so we had extra downspouts that we weren't planning on to start with, so that's what the change order is. Also some additional concrete pavement that had failed in the meantime, so we had that project.
I was reading through there and there was a charge, two T's or two downspouts for $6,000. Was that the whole thing? That they
Yes.
put on? Okay.
Yes, yes.
I thought,
Yeah, no, they're not. No,
three downspouts.
no. Yeah, that's cumulative. Yeah, so we hooked up, there actually were additional downspouts that were put on when they fixed the gutters. When Rick did the work, he dug down and created 2 new T's and hooked those up on both sides of the building. So,
Great.
yeah, so all that water now gets off the pavement and away from the building.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on change order number 1? If not, call the roll, please.
McCauley,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Next item, approval of pay request number 1 for T hanger drainage improvements. Pay application number 1 in the amount of $56,666 to Holbrook Construction, Inc. for the T hanger drainage improvements project. This is the final pay request for the project and releases the retainage. Work has been completed in accordance with the contract, and all documents have been reviewed and signed by the project engineer and are recommended for approval. Motion, please.
I make a motion, we approve pay request number 1.
I'll second.
Discussion? Pretty much went over. There's no further discussion. Call the roll, please.
Berglund,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item. Resolution approving the statement of completion and final acceptance for the T hanger drainage improvements. Project engineer Matt Ferrier of Bolton and Mink have submitted the statement of completion and final acceptance for the T hanger drainage improvements project in accordance with the plans and specifications, and sets the final contract amount at $56,666. The project engineer recommends the acceptance of said work and issuance of the statement of completion and final acceptance of the work under the conditions and guarantee of the contract. This resolution would accept the completion and final acceptance and authorize the mayor to sign off on all forms necessary to execute. Motion, please.
I move that we pass a resolution approving the statement of completion. Final acceptance for the TV.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on this topic? The T hanger? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Berglund,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes,
Okay, moving on to resolution approving work order number 7, scope and work land acquisition service for runway 14, 30 seconds, 1,500 feet extension to 5,500 feet from Bolton and Mink. This resolution would approve work order number 7 upon FAA concurrence, approving Bolton and Mink to provide the City of Perry engineering services for the land acquisition services for one-way 14/30 seconds, 1,500 feet extension improvements. Service described in work order number 7 shall not exceed $99,905. Funding participation will be $89,955 from federal funding and $9,999.50 from local match. This resolution would also authorize the mayor to sign work order number 7, accepting the terms as defined again upon concurrence from the FAA. Motion, please.
make a motion to approve resolution approving work order number 7.
A second.
Discussion?
So this item and the following 3 items are all to do with some contractual things to get started on the runway extension project. I think we had a kickoff meeting with the FAA. I think I talked about that at our last meeting, didn't I? So we're hoping to get all these things in line and in order so that our timing can work out to be able to bid this in the spring with construction next summer and fall. you have much to add?
That's pretty much
I'll
it.
wait till you get earthwork out there.
So there's an active grant for earthwork right now. The contractor has the ability to choose whether he's gonna do it in the fall or do it in the spring. He did make the request to do it in the spring, so we are gonna actually allow him to do it in the spring. He does have to be done by June. So he's gonna have to start pretty early. He's got a lot of dirt to move. Plus, these projects will be nipping right down his heels because they'll, it's a little bit unusual. Typically, you see the steps of an FAA project would be environmental work, and then wetlands assessment, and then we would look at land acquisition, and then grading and paving. So there would be a series of these. It's very unique that City of Perry got this grant from the FAA. It's the only city in the entire state that got it, but they're putting it all in one and saying we wanted you to have the whole thing bid in March. So it's a lot, and there's a lot that has to happen between now and then. So we've got several partners on the land acquisition we're looking at now. We're partnering with FAA and our land services from Ames, Iowa, to help us through that process. We've got wetland partners with Impact 7G. So there's a variety of us kind of all working under one umbrella to make it all happen.
So what if we have a hugely wet spring and he doesn't get it done by June?
He's going to be strictly enforced with penalties. The FAA is not going to give much leeway, I don't think. So,
And then will we get the rest of that poured next summer?
we still should. He's got to be done by June. And in all reality, by the time this is bid and the money is in place for the construction, it probably won't start. I'm going to guess maybe July. But there's already a lot of interest, a lot of contractors calling and asking about it because they watch the news. So
Will we have jets landing on that then in September?
I don't know about by September, but maybe by Thanksgiving.
Well, I was just wondering how long range this would be. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
not a very bad year.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Any further discussion?
Yep, I was just gonna say that there's a lot of moving parts on this, and Bolton Mink is, I think this is a decent sized project that you're gonna be keeping everything going on. So they have a whole team working on this to make sure everybody's doing their piece of the puzzles to make sure that we can get it done next year. So we're gonna do everything we can.
It's good to see that we're moving forward. Sounds like lots may be done next year. If there's no further discussion, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Macaulay.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution approving work order number 8, scope of work, runway 14/32, 1,500 feet runway extension to 5,500 feet. This resolution would approve work order number 8 upon FAA concurrence, approving Bolton and Mink to provide the city of Perry complete project design and construction administration services required for the 1,500 feet extension of one-way 14/32 to 5,500 feet. Services described in work order number 8 shall not exceed $499,436. Funding participation for this will be fully through federal funding. This resolution would also authorize the mayor to sign work order number 8, accepting the terms as defined again upon concurrence from the FAA. Motion, please.
I make a motion to pass resolution approving work order number 8.
Again, just one of the work orders to be able to get the extension work done.
Okay, good.
Just note, so council noticed it on the land acquisition portion. You notice there is a local responsibility for that one. There is not on this one. There are two different pots of money coming from the FAA. The first one for land acquisition is coming from discretionary money, which has a local match component of 10%. This one is fully funded by at a congressional level. So
Good, thanks for the clarification. Any further discussion on that one? If not, call the roll, please.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Macaulay.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, next item. Resolution fixing a date for a public hearing on a proposed public improvement project. The city of Perry proposes to acquire property under the power of eminent domain for a public improvement project pursuant to the provisions of section 6B.2A of the Code of Iowa for the purpose of constructing improvements to the municipal airport, and it is necessary to fix the date of a meeting of the council at which it is proposed to take action on the proposed public improvement project and to give notice thereof as required by such law. This resolution would establish a public hearing be set for December 20th, 2021, starting at 6 p.m. in the second floor boardroom of the Town Craft Building located at 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa, where the council will receive public input on this matter. Motion, please.
I move that we set December 20, 2021 at 6 p.m. in the second floor boardroom in the Town Craft Building for a public hearing on proposed public improvement project.
I'll second.
Okay, again, this is just setting the public hearing. Any discussion?
And I think this is just part of the process we have to go through. Doesn't mean that we're gonna be having to do any eminent domain. It's just part of that land acquisition process.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on the public hearing? If not, call the roll, please.
McCauley.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business. Approval of agreement with the Aviation Planning Group, LLC, for professional services. In order to receive federal funding through the FAA, they require that an independent fee estimate be performed in accordance with the FAA Advisory Circular 150/5100-14, Architectural Engineering and Planning Consultant Services. This agreement would be for an independent fee estimate to be performed by the Runway 14/32 1,500 feet extension project design and construction administration by the Aviation Planning Group in accordance with the FAA in a lump sum amount of $3,000. Need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve agreement with the Aviation Planning Group for professional services.
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Just to remind everybody, when you have an FAA contract, federal government contract that's over $100,000, it is a requirement that an independent firm look at the scope and establish their own cost to it. And then that gets turned to the FAA for comparison to make sure that our fees are where they should be and that those two companies have independently come up with very similar costs.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Klein.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
McCauley.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution approving the official street name map for the city of Perry after the naming of Magnolia Lane per resolution 07/1921D. It was determined that the official street name map needed updating more than just adding the new street name. Several departments reviewed the map and provided corrections to bring the map up to date with the most accuracy. This resolution would approve the official street name map for the city of Perry as attached with the resolution and authorize the mayor to sign and the city clerk to seal as the official map. Motion, please.
I make a motion to pass resolution approving the official street name map for the city of Perry.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
So this is just one of those things that hadn't been done in a while, and I think Liz's OCD got to her and she wanted to update the street map. Is that accurate?
That's a long copy of it, right?
We can get you a copy of it.
Trivia question, Liz, since you worked on this, how many different street names do we have in Perry?
I'll look over at Bolton, Mink, because they helped with that. I would say I know probably 4 or 5 we found and fixed.
Could you name all the streets in Perry for us?
I might be able to get somewhat close, Dean, but no, not exactly.
I know some of these streets are a block long. I know that.
Yeah.
They
John
are.
Butler was telling me there's a street name that's 1 block long.
Yeah.
It's Elm Street,
Elm Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right over there.
that down by Patsy Park.
The elm tree could fall and cover the whole damn.
Wipe it off the map.
Any other discussion on street names? I think it's some, I do need somebody to tell me how many street names we have, because that is an interesting question. If there's no other discussion, call the roll, please.
Berkland.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Colley.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution setting a public hearing for proposed rezoning. This resolution would establish a public hearing to be set for November 15, 2021, starting at 6:00 p.m. in the second floor boardroom of the Town Craft Building located at 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa. The hearing would be on a proposed zoning change for 2 properties in an area consisting of approximately 18 acres and bounded on the west by West 8th Street, on the north by former railroad right-of-way, now part of the Raccoon Valley River Trail, on the east by Fog Creek, and on the south by properties located on the north side of Warford and Lucinda Streets. The properties are currently zoned residential duplex RD, are being requested to be rezoned as planned unit development, PUD. The proposed PUD would allow for the construction of detached single-family homes to be built over 2 phases on the properties. The PUD ordinance, chapter 166, allows for more potential flexibility in land uses, lot sizes, and building locations than the other zoning districts afford a developer. The Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing November 9, 2021 on the proposal and will provide a recommendation to council pertaining to the establishment of the PUD. Need a motion, please?
I move the resolution setting a public hearing for proposed rezone.
Second.
Discussion on the setting of the public hearing. Mike, did you want to?
Mayor, council, yes, we've had a request from a potential builder to build 54 units out there over 2 phases.
Did you say 54?
54. Yeah, the first phase would be 33, the second phase would be an additional 20. So the proposal to go from an RD to a PUD is very similar to the one that we had for Magnolia Park. It's the fact that they're wishing to have smaller frontage, 60-foot fronts, and basically the ground would be just shy of the 8,000 square foot requirement that we require under residential duplex. That's principally the reason they're coming to ask for a PUD, which means probably something that we should look to address in our comprehensive plan and new zoning ordinances as we go forward, because we are having people ask for smaller lots. We ask for 75-foot fronts. So, which are.
Vacant property now? Or-
Yes, I neglected to probably get this added into the map, but to make sure where the 2 parcels are. It's approximately 18 acres. And again, he is proposing, at least now, to put basements in there. Into those.
In the floodplain.
Well, we'll see.
Really, there's only like 100 feet on the east side of the property that's in the floodplain.
Right.
So other than that, everything is out.
He is an individual that is from Perry originally. He's moved out and now wants to come back and put these type of homes up. I said he's an individual that was originally from Perry, has his own contracting firm, and is looking to come back and build these units.
So all of these units will basically be.
He's proposing, right, the first phase is extending Patty and St. Paul. They'll come together. Originally, he had them as a cul-de-sac. Now his proposal is to come in and have them join. So actually, there will be a loop in the first phase, so it'll be a complete road or entry and exit without having to make a cul-de-sac turnaround.
And when we have the public hearing and planning and zoning meets, the full plan will get presented. But this is just setting the public hearing. But I will say also, it is all single-family homes and owner-occupied. Or whoever buys them, but yes, not intended initially to be rentals.
Any other further discussion on setting the date for the public hearing?
And we'll have more details at that public hearing too, so.
I think there'll be a combination of 1 and 2. He's hoping, I am hoping that he'll have some plans for us to show what type of style he's working on that for us.
Any other discussion on setting the public hearing? If not, call the roll, please.
Schott,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Macaulay,
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Klein.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item, resolution setting a date of meeting at which is proposed to approve a development agreement with Greater Dallas County Development Alliance, including annual appropriation tax increment payments in an annual amount not to exceed $200,000. The resolution would establish a public hearing to be set for November 15th, 2021, starting at 6 p.m. in the second floor boardroom of the Towncraft Building located at 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa, for the council to receive public comment on the action to approve and enter into a development agreement between the city and Greater Dallas County Development Alliance. If approved, payments on the development agreement to Greater Dallas County Development Alliance would not be a general obligation of the city, but payable from incremental property tax revenues generated within the Perry urban renewal area. Payments made under the agreement would be subject to annual appropriation by the city council. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion to pass resolution setting a date of a meeting, which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with the Greater Dallas County Development Alliance, including annual appropriation tax increment payments in the amount not to exceed $200,000.
Thank you. Discussion?
So this is our, it will be our annual dues to the Greater Dallas County Development Alliance. Well, in 2011, we entered into this to set that for the 10-year period after we got our new population numbers. It crept up on us this year because we haven't really gotten great numbers so far, especially when it comes to the metro communities. And over the past, well, probably 2 or 3 years ago, the Alliance did increase their dues from $2 to $2.50. But we had that longer term agreement, so we kept at that original amount. So with our new population numbers and that new $2.50, we were right in that 19,000 and some dollars. So we just made it an even $20,000 each year for those 10 years. And I think that's something that the executive committee and board and the executive director are talking about, those city dues and trying to get more participation from the metro communities to maybe not have population dues as much as it is just set dollar amounts of kind of you figure out where you fit in the organization and how much you want to support the organization. So this is kind of where we landed for this go around. So again, it is an annual appropriation. So every year we take a look at it. So.
Further discussion, questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Berkland.
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Macaulay.
Yes.
Schott.
Yeah.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item, resolution approving the plat of survey creating parcel 21-58 within the city of Perry. This action would separate a portion of the property presently part of the first Perry Business Plaza and combine it with an existing lot to the west creating parcel 21-58 within the city of Perry. This will provide the opportunity for Quick Trip to purchase and construct a Quick Star store on the property. Motion, please.
I move that we approve the platted survey creating parcel 21-58 within the city of Perry.
I'll second.
Discussion. Mike?
Yeah, good evening again. This is simply basically combining separating a parcel and then combining it with the other parcel to the west. The Perry Business Plaza has about 7 3/4 acres. The proposal is to take about 2 3/4, just shy of 3, and combine it with the 2 acres to the west and create this 5.7 acre parcel, which then the proposal would be is to have not a convenience store, a neighborhood store be built on that will have fuel.
So is this for the old Hy-Vee?
Yes, this takes basically the north part of that plaza down there in front of what was the old Hy-Vee out to from First Avenue all the way back across that open property and then taking the where there were grain bins of living seeds.
Yeah.
And then we have our gravel or sand domes beyond that. That's what this property is.
So is Quick Star actually using the old Hy-Vee building in their plans, or?
The old Hy-Vee building, they're using the ground.
They're using the ground, but not the building.
No.
That's been torn down.
Yeah.
Just a gravel.
So they will have the site, and that'll be in the, actually, it'll be the next discussion. Here's their site.
That's
plan.
gonna be a huge piece.
It was a property I think Wade will probably get into later, had some challenges and opportunity, but in order to basically take stormwater detention and retention aspects, they had to acquire that other property for retaining stormwater, as well as then they wanted to erect a sign closer to the highway. So this is kind of just taking that parcel and putting it together.
So the existing business that's going to be right next to what used to be the old Hy-Vee building, that's where they're.
The store will actually sit north of that, but the canopy for the fuel will be to the east of the Snap Fitness and the floral shop and such. Yeah, so they'll take some of that property going south, and then they're going to move. Presently, there is an entrance there. They're going to close that entrance and move it a bit further south. And then
Isn't
we'll-
there a sign? During the day?
Yeah, I think that has to be moved. Does it not? I thought so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was looking at the map.
Yeah.
The sign there.
Yeah. So
But the entrance will be wider.
actually, I think it is wider.
And I think all of that's in the site.
In the site plan on the next. This simply puts the parcel for them to acquire the bill, put the site plan on.
Any further discussion on approving the plat of survey creating this new parcel?
And I guess really I should say also that it was subject to putting sidewalks in. And they do have sidewalks and a trail on both sides. And then also correcting an easement. It's odd that we have a stormwater pipe that goes through there, but it doesn't, and then there's an easement that's supposed to cover it, but the easement is actually south of where the facility is. So we want to get the correct location of that easement to put it back on top of where our stormwater is. And we got the language for that this afternoon. Dwayne's going to take a look at it. We'll take a look and see what we need to do on that one. So it was contingent from P&Z on those two subjects.
Any further discussion on approving the plat of the survey creating the new parcel? If not, call the roll, please.
McCauley,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item, resolution approving the site plan for parcel 21-58 for construction of a Quick Star within the city of Perry. This resolution approves the site plan submitted by Quick Trip of La Crosse, Wisconsin for a proposed Quick Star store on parcel 21-58, subject to the inclusion on the plan of sidewalks / bike trails on the property along Center Street and First Avenue. Need a motion, please?
I move that we approve the resolution approving the site plan for parcel 21-38 construction. Start with the city of Perry. I'll second.
Discussion.
With bike. Sidewalks.
Sidewalks, bike trails, and correction of an easement. But with this, again, this is the proposal to build the 11,000 approximately square foot store. It would have gas pumps, also a car wash to the, actually where the former Hy-Vee was at, it would be a car wash facility and some diesel pumps. Now, it's not a full-fledged truck stop. It's just really convenience for those vehicles that use diesel. It'll be able to, as I understand, to handle semis, but the expectation is we're not going to have a great deal of semi-truck traffic through there. But I would like to introduce, if you have more questions on the site plan, Wade Dumont from Quick Trip is down to answer any questions that you may have. I will have to say, they have aggressively, I think, did you say last week? 50 stores a year they've been adding consistently. And so, you know, I think it's a good addition to our community. But if you have site questions, tell them what we're doing.
Sure. Mr. Mayor and council members, Wade Dumont with Quick Trip Quick Star out of La Crosse, Wisconsin. The site plan and the elevations and everything are in your packet too. So if you, I'm sure you've already looked at that, but if you have any questions, I'll sure try to answer.
I was just gonna ask, when will this be completed?
You told me.
When did we start shopping?
Yes, right now it's scheduled for a 2023 build. 2022 is already kind of filled up, but sometimes things do change. So it's a possibility it could be next year, but it's most likely going to be 2023. Yes, sir.
This is not a question for you, but just a question in general. When exactly did the old Hy-Vee building get torn down?
One night when you were sleeping.
I somehow missed that. I might be the only one in Perry that didn't know.
I want to say 2016.
Yeah.
So here's a fun fact. The frame of the big bicycle is part of the steel from the old Hy-Vee.
Oh,
so
very good.
So that was, I think, 15 or 16.
And you really don't notice it because the fitness center's
Yeah.
right there, so it's just, they cleaned it up so nice along that edge, you really don't notice it.
Yeah, I see that.
It's still in our hearts.
Yes.
Good to know. Any other discussion about approving the site plan? If not, thank you for meeting with us tonight. We appreciate you being here in person. If no other questions or discussion, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Berkland.
Yes.
McCauley.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
And from here on out, we can now refer to this as the Quick Star instead of the old Hy-Vee.
Where's it at? You know, the old Hy-Vee location. Okay, moving right along. Resolution setting a public hearing on the status of funded activities for the Community Development Block Grant Response and Recovery Grant Contract 20-MSG-07. The city received a CDBG on July 7th, 2020 in the amount of $254,000 to assist in the city's Perry Housing Sustainability Program. The project is being funded in part through a community development block grant provided by the Iowa Economic Development Authority and the city of Perry to assist in the exterior home rehabilitation of low and moderate income homeowners. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the Iowa Economic Development Authority requires cities receiving CDBG funds to hold a public hearing providing citizens a status of funded activities, SOFA, update, as well as the opportunity to comment on the accomplishments of the funded project to date and how CDBG monies have been expended. With passage of this resolution, the public hearing will be held November 15, 2021, beginning at 6:00 p.m. in the second floor boardroom of the Town Craft Building located at 1122 Lewis Avenue, Perry, Iowa. The hearing will include a review of project activities and accomplishments to date, a summary of all expenditures to date, a general description of remaining work, and any changes made to the scope of work, budget, schedule, location, and / beneficiaries. Motion, please.
I make a motion to pass a resolution setting a public hearing for the status of the funded activities SOFA for the Community Development Block Grant Response and Recovery Grant Contract 20-HSG-007.
Second.
Discussion?
It's helped us in the past. It'll be a great thing for the future.
Oh, it's helped a lot. There's no other discussion. Call the roll, please.
Kirkland.
Yes.
McCauley.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Having no other business before us, we stand adjourned at 7:15 p.m. Thank you.